Hey everyone, I need your attention for 1 minute. This is not one of those ads. This is something that has changed my entire life. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know that this is all about personal development as the foundation for everything good in your life. And this podcast is now sponsored by Growth Day, which is the world's first all-in-one personal development app. I mean, oh my gosh, can you imagine having everything all in one place that you need to create the life that you want? Now you can. So if you've been struggling with your motivation, your mood, your productivity, or your purpose, you have to check this out. Growth Day helps you consciously change your life and achieve your potential. It has all the self-improvement tools, motivational classes, and life coaching all in one place. So many of us want to improve our lives, but the question is how? Where do we start? What do we use? How do you get unstuck? How do you make self-improvement stick? Well, research shows how. It's when you consistently journal, track your habits, set goals, learn from empowering mentors, and challenge yourself that you'll be happier, healthier, and more successful. But let me ask you something. Where do you actually do all of your personal development work? I have to tell you that over 300,000 people use Growth Day for a reason. It works. It's the world's #1 software for self-improvement. Growth Day has an amazing mindset journal that I absolutely love, a habit tracker, and a goal-setting system. In fact, I bet if you went to my stories this week, you probably saw me using the journaling app and telling you to do it too, because it's the first time that journaling has ever actually stuck consistently in my life because of this app. And best of all, Growth Day has live inspirational classes every single week from the world's top motivational speakers and life coaches. These are people who have impacted my life in huge ways. These are mentors who I already knew and loved. In fact, this is something that's so huge for me, you guys. I personally teach a class in Growth Day every single month, and it is one of the most fun things that I get to do, and I'd love to see you there. These classes will truly shift your life. There's always something new that you will learn. So join me and 300,000 achievers growing our lives with actual real intention. Visit growthday.com/Lori for a free trial. Yes, you can try this for free. So go to growthday.com/Lori and go live your best life. You guys, that's growthday.com/Lori. And I can't wait to see you there.
You have to believe that when you put thoughts out into the world, it starts the creation of something. And that thoughts are shared, and that thoughts are an energy.
Welcome to the Earn Your Happy podcast. I'm Lori Harder, founder of Light Pink, best-selling author, 3-time fitness world champion, and I'm a crazy, multi-passionate entrepreneur. My journey has taken me everywhere, from being a broke waitress, barista, retail associate, and personal trainer with massive anxiety and no belief in myself, to later becoming a multi-millionaire in love with my life. In 2007, my husband and I lost everything. We found ourselves hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt at rock bottom. We had no ideas, and I had no education to fall back on. This is when I found personal development and learned everything I could about business, not by choice, but because I realized no one was coming to save me. The conversations on this podcast are going to let you know that you're not alone and that we all feel like we don't know what we're doing. We're going to give you the tools to help you face your fears, take action, start your business, and grow those massive dreams that are keeping you up at night. It's time to create a life that you can't hide from and put so much on the line that your higher self is forced to come out. You're going to stop waiting for someone to approve of you, and you're going to anoint yourself. Because I'm obsessed about building businesses that give women a platform, I want to feature you. So if you text the word podcast to 310-496-8363, you can get your questions answered on our Q&A segment along with a shout out. And if you rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, we're choosing someone every month to get coached and featured on our show. It just might be you. So let's get started.
And we're back.
With another episode of He Said, She Said.
So we were on a walk yesterday, and as we are every day, and Lori posed a really good question to me. I'm like, babe, that needs to be an episode. What was your question?
My question was, as I was contemplating life, you guys, I'm reading Joseph Campbell right now, so you have to contemplate life when you're doing that.
And I got to say, here's how I know when Lori's reading a good book. She'll stop every 2 to 5 minutes and have to tell me another thing from the book.
It's terrible. And I know I'm being annoying when I'm doing it because he's an audiobook person. I like to read a physical book. And I can feel myself being annoying, but it's like bubbling up. Like I literally cannot. It's like gas. Like you have to get it out or you'll explode.
God, you don't have to get it out, first of all.
You will explode. Like this is what happens when you lay in bed. If I don't do it under the covers, I'll explode. I'll die.
Oh God.
You're wishing certain death upon me.
In one sentence, you gave me 2 reasons to not be happy with you now. Constantly interrupting your book every 2 to 5 minutes or interrupting my book.
I'm trying to help your brain expand.
All right. We better move on from gas in bed to your really brilliant question that you posed the other day.
Okay, here is the question. And by the way, the book I'm reading is The Hero's Journey. If you're like, what Joseph Campbell book is that? Because I'm pretty sure they're all good. I think I'm going to read them all.
Good job closing that loop.
Thank you. So the question is, what percentage of making money and being abundant and being wealthy is actually spiritual?
Isn't that a good question? You guys had it kind of took me by surprise because I hadn't been asked that before. I was like, that is one of the best questions ever. And the way she said it was great too, because it was so casual. You know, we're on a walk just talking about everything. She goes, what percentage of us getting rich do you think was spiritual? And it was just such a great real life casual. I'm like, this needs to be talked about. And so I thought about it a little bit, maybe 10, 20, 30 steps worth. So I didn't want to just give her a half-ass answer right away. And I said, I think 60%. I think 60% of getting wealthy or making money.
I was actually surprised by that
Were you?
said 60%. I was like, I wonder if I'll say like 30 or 40 or half or what.
Yeah, well, I really thought about it. I wanted to give you a good answer. And I really felt like 60% was my answer. And I'll pose it back to you in a minute here. And for a number of reasons, though. Matter of fact, before I get into those reasons, what do you think when you asked the question, you must have had a percentage in your mind.
Well, you're not going to like this because it won't add up. So for people who are numbers driven, they're not going to like it. But I think it's 100 and 100. I think spirituality is 100% of the factor, but so is strategy and skill meeting together, or like the wisdom about. This is interesting though, because I was going to say the wisdom and strategy and skill, but that is all related back to also what I believe is a universal law, which I believe exists in the spiritual realm. And you may not even say spiritual realm. Like I think it's the almost like the quantum realm of the way things work. So I think it's 100% where, I don't know.
You're saying it's 100% strategy and 100% spiritual. And
Yeah.
that adds up to 200%, which normally you're right. I would hate an answer like that because I love math. But I actually like your answer. I really do. It's like in a relationship, right? Each of you can't try 50% to have a 100% relationship. Each of you have to try 100% to have a 200% relationship. Like it's 200% or nothing.
I like that. Thanks for finishing that loop for me today.
Yeah. Well, all right. So let me get back to my 60%. So I'm going to use a normal 100% piece of the pie here. So out of the 100% possibility of the pie, how much of that is spiritual that makes you wealthy? I think it's 60%. And here's some of my thoughts why. From a straight woo-woo position, you have to believe that when you put thoughts out into the world, it starts the creation of something. And that thoughts are shared and that thoughts are an energy. How many times have you been with someone before you're like, oh my God, I was just thinking that too. Right? I believe that thoughts are a shared energy. When you put this shared energy out to the world, all sorts of things start conspiring kind of subconsciously to make that thought come true. If somebody thinks, I want to build a skyscraper here, that'd be perfect. That becomes the beginning thought of, maybe I should go talk to an architect and maybe I should, do this and do that. And before you know it, you've called in all the people to build a skyscraper. You look like you're about to say something.
Yeah. You spiraled that thought into another thought of, even if people are like, I don't know about that, like, I'm not sure. the practical thing that putting a thought out there does is, so if I went around town today, let's just say that I was out all day talking to people, out and about, running errands and meeting a lot of different people. And I didn't have a thought in my head about what I wanted or needed. I would go around and have a completely different experience and not see the things that I want or need to see until I put a thought in my head or an intention.
Yeah.
So what if I said I'm looking, in the back of my mind, I'm looking for an office space. Let's just say I'm not like for Light Pink, but let's just say I'm looking for an office space for Light Pink. And instead of going about to the same Starbucks, going about, maybe I'm running errands at Home Depot, maybe I'm running around at Target, maybe I'm running around, who knows, just out and about in the day. And I start posing this question to people or meeting people. And when I meet them or talk to somebody, I'm like, hey, I know this is random, but I'm looking for some office space. Do you know anyone? Do you know a realtor? Do you know something that's open? I'm going to find a lead that's going to bring me an answer. Mm-hmm. And this is what happens is it just opens up. It's the same thing as, they always talk about this. You're walking around when we would walk around in LA. It's like, you're not really noticing things until you say, okay, look for a black Range Rover. And all of a sudden, that's all there is in LA. It's like a taxi cab, but you didn't even realize that they were all around you until you set your intention on it. So even in the most practical form, a thought tunes you in to the chant. Were those black Range Rovers always there? I don't know. Did more come because you had the thought? I don't know. That's the fun part.
Well, thoughts become things, right? And we shared from a strictly woo-woo standpoint, that shared subconscious energy, everything starts conspiring. And you shared from a practical standpoint, how thoughts become things. So I'm going to share a third reason why I thought it was at least 60%. And that is, when I feel good, I perform good. When I feel good, I perform well, right? And when I am aligned spiritually, when I am journaling, when I am meditating, when I'm doing my mantras, when I do my visualizations, when I am in prayer on a regular basis, I feel really good. I feel more bulletproof. I feel more confident. Mm-hmm. I'm putting on the colored lenses that I care to see the world through, right? At least I'm putting on the colored lenses I care to see the next 5 minutes through. Mm-hmm. And because I see the next 5 minutes through some pretty positive lenses of opportunity, then the next 10 minutes after that, I also see through better lenses. And the next hour after that, I also see, right? It becomes a compounding effect. And so from a more practical side, just on what happens to you when you're more aligned with your spiritual practices, you become more confident. You become more aware of opportunity. You get a little bit more swagger. You're happier. And all of that plays into a perfect recipe of being able to take that first step that might build wealth, or take that 10th step that you've been kind of holding off because it was a scary one, or go meet that person, or go ask for this help. All of those things come easier when you have first really taken care of your spiritual practices and are feeling pretty bulletproof there.
Yeah, it's so interesting because even people who are super practical, potentially listening, who are like, I'm not really into spirituality, whatever that definition is for you, I think we're talking here about something bigger than you and something outside of physical form. So even thoughts are things is actually a spiritual thought because it's not in a technical physical realm yet. Mm-hmm. So with that, you cannot create something out in the world without first believing it can exist. And having to believe in something that doesn't yet exist, that in itself is a spiritual thing. So it's like having to really lean into that. That is where the work is because a lot of people can't fathom the thing that doesn't exist yet. And, we're creating very real things off of images and visions that aren't real yet, but they are. And here's the thing is you have to know that when you get those mental images, they are like the bait that is meant to get you going into the real vision. And it's going to change 500 times. But that big vision is meant to get you to take the first step, which then you have to have enough faith to know that once you take the first step, the next will be revealed. And that is a very spiritual journey to have full-time faith and say, I had this vision. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to just move forward. And here's the crazy thing. I love this. I love thinking about it in terms of going into Joseph Campbell, where he says life is literally art. And then art is also nature. It reflects nature. And I think about, I was reading this Michelangelo book and he stands at stone. So before he did a sculpture, he would stand at the different stone that he was going to pick out. So he would walk through all of these fields of all of these different large marble pieces or stone pieces. And he would go up and he would put his hands on them and close his eyes and ask what was inside. Who do you think he was asking? He would ask what was inside of this stone piece. I think that's the most beautiful thing ever. And he would know which one he wanted by doing this method, this ritual that he would do. And I thought, my God, like these brilliant, amazing artists throughout history had a method like this where they would kind of tune out and just think. They would think of the vision. They would call on something higher. They would take this, methodical ritual. And I'm like, gosh, when do we do that in our life? How do we create more of that to like tune out of the world and see not what is already external, but like what vision are we seeing? So I really do believe that there is so much that we can tune into for money making that is spiritual.
We don't do it enough. And it's funny, I've been doing a little experiment this year. So my friend Darren, or I should say our friend Darren, obviously, he and his wife have a multi-$100 million company, right? Mm-hmm. And I can't share the full value of the company right now, but let's just say it's in the hundreds of millions of dollars that the two of them built from the ground up. And last year, he's like, hey, I'm doing this really cool experiment where I've heard of everybody manifesting things by writing them down in a journal on a regular basis. So he goes, I'm just experimenting. First, I'm writing every single day that I'm getting the front parking spot. And all of a sudden it's happening. And then I'm trying to expand. I'm trying to push it. I'm writing every single day that someone's going to give me a random pair of tennis shoes. And it happens. Like really crazy. He's like, there is some legitimacy to this craziness as he was starting to experiment with it. And I said to myself, oh my God, I'm going to do that. Except I didn't do it. The whole year went by and I didn't do it. So then, but it is always eating at me in the back of the head.
It's me. Yep.
So then this year I recommitted to journaling every morning, right? You and I did. Mm-hmm. And we've been doing it. Haven't missed a day. And in my journal, I have 3 prompts. The first one is gratitude, and I write a paragraph or 2. Next one is manifest. I write a paragraph or 2. And the last one is my work. And I write a paragraph or 2 about why I'm working hard that day. But in the manifest one, I've been like, this is where I'm really going to play with this. I'm really going to experiment with it. So I've been saying writing down every single day, I manifest unexpected, perfectly aligned windfalls falling into our account today and tomorrow. Like every single day, I'll just keep writing that as one of the lines in the thing. And the weirdest things have been happening. Like what happened the other day, Lori, some guy, stranger in Connecticut, literally called me, got my number somehow and said, hey, you have a boat trailer that your old boat is sitting on that I just bought at auction. And it turns out you still own the trailer. And I need that trailer to get the boat home. How much do you want for it? I'm like, I don't know, $7,500. He's like, done. And wired me the money. Like out of the blue, a trailer I forgot we had. Matter of fact, a trailer I didn't know we had because I thought that it went with the boat when we salvaged it with the insurance. Then another thing happened. We got this random $2,400 deposit as an affiliate split from a client we had sent somebody a year ago. They made another payment. We got another payment as an affiliate split. Like the weirdest things are showing up that weren't showing up on a regular basis. So there's 2 ways of thinking here. The boring, pragmatic way would be like, well, of course, those things always show up, but now you're just aware of them. And that's no fun to believe in that. The other fun way to believe in is, holy shit, you write this stuff down every day and this stuff starts showing up.
I mean, it's interesting because then you go out in the world and you go and add the practical to it. So it's kind of like if I wrote in my journal every day, hey, I want a much tighter, rounder, more lifted butt, but I sat on the couch.
But then what if a surgeon came and knocked on the front door and said, hey, I would love to do these butt injections into your rear.
I'd be like, shut up. I just wrote this in my journal. Check it out.
And you'd lay on your stomach and he'd shoot you with fat in your butt.
And I'm like, ah.
God, people must hate us.
But for real, I would have to go and also do the work. But this is interesting. I mean, you may not think it's interesting, but when I was a personal trainer, and also when I was working out and doing competitions, one of the hardest muscles to work out is your butt to target. And do you know the main way to change if you're doing the workouts, but your butt is not changing?
Implants.
One of the biggest way to get off the implants already. One of the biggest ways to change it is to think about engaging your glutes.
Oh, interesting.
So while you're doing the exercise, the same damn exercise I had been doing forever, you guys, I ended up signing up with my own trainer because coaches need coaches. Mm-hmm. And I was like, look, I got some pancakes back here. I'd like them to be a little more round. So
Turn those pancakes
when I
into
started
muffins.
training with her, I'm like, I'm doing all of these exercises. And she's like, yeah, but you have to think about it. You have to actually think the thoughts to engage that muscle while you're doing it. Sure enough, the same exercises I was doing when I thought about it started to actually engage instead of use my quads. I was very quad dominant, and that's what would take over. So what happens when we go out in the world and do these things that someone gave us a strategy or a skill, but we don't actually put the intention out every day and focus so hard on this is also what we want. So same exercise, totally different thoughts while I was doing it. And that's insane. Anyway, there you go.
It's not insane. When I just took this drink of coffee, I concentrated on my bicep and I swear it got bigger.
You know, one of my roommates used to eat like vegetables, and she would be like, no, I picture pizza so hard while I eat this.
And she got fat from eating vegetables?
No.
That'd be a great one. That'd be great.
She was actually very thin. But I was like, I tried it and it didn't work. So I was like, pizza with a carrot. And it just wasn't.
It's not the same.
No.
All right, guys. Well, I hope that you take out of all of this very unintelligent rambling, I hope that you take one very intelligent thing away from this. And that is this, whether it's 60% spiritual when getting rich, or Lori's answer, 100% spiritual when getting rich. I hope your takeaway is that it is a significant piece of the pie. And if you're not engaged in practices where you feel like you are spiritually aligned and in that zone, then I don't care how hard you work. I don't care how much strategy you have. You're going to be missing one of the most significant pieces of the equation, and you're not going to get where you want to get. So hopefully this is that missing piece that maybe helps you break through and take you to that next level.
And sustain it. That's really why we wanted to have this conversation too, is sometimes, you know, it can take a really long time to understand this and also to match the strategy and do the things. Trust me, or you can start this now and maybe your reality will start showing up in a year, or maybe it's 5 years, but it will show up if you do this because you just magnetize yourself. But then what do you do once the money comes to keep it? I believe that's one of the most spiritual things that you can do.
Guys, every single morning I wake Lori up to a mantra. And now I do it to thousands of you. And this is one of those tiny, tiny spiritual practices where at least I can help you put the right colored lenses on before your feet hit the ground, right? I'm always sending a positive business perspective or a money mindset mantra. I literally just text it to you every single morning. So if you want me to do that, it's totally free. There's no catch. It was Lori's idea and it was a brilliant idea. All you have to do is text me the word daily and I'll put you on the list and you'll get my morning texts. Text me the word daily to 310-421-0416. Again, text me the word daily to 310-421-0416. Thanks for listening. We love and appreciate you.
Hey y'all, I'm so excited to share with you, Earn Your Happy is now part of Growth Day Podcast Network. A bunch of us are coming together to bring more growth to the world and support shows and brands that we truly believe in. And one of my friends is also on the network, and I'd love for you to go subscribe to his show. You guys, Trent Shelton has the most incredible podcast. It's called Straight Up with Trent Shelton, and it's going to remind you that you are built for this. I have heard Trent speak in person multiple times. I've listened to his podcast a ton. He's coming on the show and I literally cannot wait because this man just spits straight fire. It is like truth that goes to your core and makes you take action right away. If you want one of those podcasts that when you're just out on a walk, you can't help but want to start running and run through a wall in your life, this is the show to go listen to. So you guys make sure that you go subscribe to the show Straight Up with Trent Shelton. You're going to love it. Want to know a huge secret to my success? Okay, not only my success, but just about every single person that I have interviewed on this podcast who is successful has this in common. You guys, they love to journal. They capture their life lessons and what they're grateful for. but a lot of people don't keep this up consistently. And most people do know that the research shows that journaling deepens your gratitude and increases self-awareness. But did you also know that journaling decreases stress and helps you achieve your goals faster? In fact, journaling is a huge differentiator between average performers at work and high-performing people. It leads to longer-term clarity, confidence, and success. So why don't more people journal? Why didn't I journal consistently? Honestly, they don't like staring at a blank page. It's hard to carry a book around with you or a notepad, and they just don't even know what to write about, or they just forget. That's why I know that you're going to love Growth Day. It's the world's #1 system for self-improvement, and it's like all-in-one personal development in an app. And it has an awesome digital journal, and people love it. Growth Day's digital journal has hundreds of research-backed writing prompts for self-reflection, positive mindset, confidence building, and success. I use them all the time, and it makes me think in ways that I typically don't, and it makes me ask myself better questions, which we all know gets better results in our life. It even has prompts that help you develop a daily, weekly, or monthly habit of reflecting on your life and identifying areas to grow. So it's a perfect time of year to start journaling, you guys. When you sign up at Growth Day, you also get systems for habit tracking, goal setting, and scoring, and improving every area of your life. Best of all, I get to teach there too, you guys. I'm so excited. I hope that I get to see you. I teach live in Growth Day every single month with a new topic just for you. So join me there. Start your free trial at growthday.com/Lori. Hey, do you know what the big secret is this year? And it shouldn't be a secret because this should be your biggest focus. It is building your community. I am always working on building and nurturing my community, and everyone is talking about the power of community. Without an online community, you just cannot grow organically or create a real movement, which is what I know that we're all after. And you can build trust or monetize your audience. When you get community right, not only does your audience grow faster, but so do your sales. But where's everybody going to be managing their communities these days? And a lot of online entrepreneurs and thought leaders are turning to Circle.so. Circle is an all-in-one community platform. It lets you host content and create discussions, live streams, group chats, and memberships all under your own brand. And what's so cool about Circle.so is that you don't even need a website or Facebook group. Instead, Circle lets you build your own community site where you can host content and manage your members. You can even create locked and unlocked content spaces, groups, and classes. How freaking cool is that? You can put your content behind a paywall too, and you can charge different amounts of money for different spaces on your community site. Circle.so is famously easy to use, and it has a free 14-day trial for you, so you can go check it out, see if you like it, see if you love all the options. Just go to Circle.so. Go check it out right now, you guys. Imagine being able to manage your community, start group chats and live classes, and accept payments all in one place. Kind of mind-blowing since this is usually spread all over the place. You have to log into so many different things. If this is the year to capture, organize, and monetize your community, head over to Circle.so. You can get a free trial and start building your online community right now. Just go to Circle.so. You guys, you get the 14-day free trial. So just go and see if it's for you. It's going to streamline everything and make your life so much easier. It's so freaking cool.